I remember the exact moment it happened, not because it was loud, but because the room went quiet in a way that felt heavy. I was on my knees in the middle of the executive floor, wiping a coffee spill off a white marble table, while a man in a tailored suit stood over me, arms crossed, enjoying the pause he'd created. "Unbelievable," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "This is what happens when standards drop. Anyone can put on a uniform these days." A few people laughed, the nervous kind. Others stared at their phones. No one stepped in. I kept wiping. Not because I didn't hear him, not because I didn't care, but because I'd learned a long time ago that reacting too fast gives the wrong people control. To them, I was just the maintenance guy, mid-40s, quiet, worked nights, kept my head down. The kind of man executives walk past without registering his face. They saw a badge, not a person, a job title, not a history. What they didn't see was the discipline behind my stillness, or the patience it took to stay calm when someone tried to reduce you to nothing in front of a room full of witnesses. That day wasn't the first time the CEO, I'll call him Richard, had taken a shot at me. It was just the first time he did it with an audience. He liked audiences. I'd been at the company for a few months by then. Big glass building, open floor plans. Words like culture and excellence painted on the walls in brushed steel letters. On paper, it was everything modern corporate America liked to pretend it was. In practice, not so much. From day one, Richard made it clear who mattered and who didn't. He spoke to people in layers. Executives got eye contact. Managers got instructions. People like me got barked at if acknowledged at all. "Hey," he once snapped, not even looking at me, "you missed a spot." I hadn't. But I cleaned it again anyway. Some people call that weakness. I call it information gathering. While everyone else rushed to prove themselves, I watched. I learned the rhythms of the building, who came in early, who stayed late, who talked a big game, and who actually carried weight when things went wrong. I fixed small problems no one else wanted to touch. Inefficient systems, safety issues, workflow bottlenecks, quietly, no credit, no announcement. That seemed to bother Richard more than if I'd messed things up. One afternoon, an older employee slipped near the elevators. People froze, the kind of freeze that happens when no one wants responsibility. I was already moving before I realized it. "Don't try to stand yet," I told her, calm, steady. "Any pain in your hip, your back." I was halfway through checking her range of motion when Richard stormed over. "What do you think you're doing?" he snapped. "Making sure she's okay." "That's not your job," he said sharply. "Your job is to clean floors. Stay in your lane." I looked up at him, met his eyes for half a second, then nodded. Understood. But something shifted right there. Not anger, clarity. That night, sitting alone in my apartment, I opened my laptop and started writing things down. Dates, times, exact words, who was nearby. I didn't know yet what I'd do with it, only that I needed a record. Old habits die hard. The pressure built slowly after that. My hours got cut. My schedule changed without notice. Tasks assigned 5 minutes before I was supposed to leave. Anything to remind me I didn't belong. Once after a late meeting, Richard leaned in and said quietly, "People like you should be grateful to even be here." He smiled when he said it. That smile told me everything I needed to know. The breaking point came during a board presentation. Big clients, important people. Richard spilled coffee on the conference table, accidentally on purpose, then turned to me. "You're going to clean that," he said. "Now, and stay. Maybe you'll learn something." I knelt again. Same room, same silence, different energy. One of the board members watched me closely, not with pity, with recognition. He didn't say anything, just nodded almost imperceptibly. After the meeting, Richard pulled me aside. "You embarrassed me in there," he hissed. "I don't know who you think you are, but don't forget your place." I didn't argue. I just went back to work. A week later, I was asked to attend an emergency board meeting. No explanation, no warning. I showed up in my work uniform, stood near the door like I was used to. Richard laughed when he saw me. "Why is he here?" he asked. "He can clean up afterward." The chairwoman looked at him calmly. "Actually, he's here because we invited him." The room shifted. I took a seat slowly and placed my folder on the table. Richard's confidence cracked just for a second. They asked me to speak. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't tell my life story. I didn't need to. I laid out patterns, behaviors, costs, cultural failures, how arrogance bleeds money, how fear kills performance, how silence protects the wrong people. Then I opened the folder. Dates, quotes, audio clips, corroboration. The room went still, not awkward this time, focused. Someone asked why I'd taken a maintenance job if I had the background they'd just learned about. I told them the truth. I wanted to see how a company treats people with no power. That tells you more than any mission statement ever will. Richard tried to interrupt, tried to joke, tried to spin it. No one followed him. When the decision came, it was fast, clean, professional. He was escorted out the same atrium where he'd humiliated me, still talking, still blaming, still convinced he was the victim. I watched from behind the glass, not satisfied, just finished. I didn't take his job. I didn't want it. I stayed long enough to help rebuild what he'd broken, systems, accountability, trust. Then I stepped away. Quietly. The same way I'd arrived. Now when people hear my story, they ask if it felt good, if the revenge was sweet. It wasn't revenge. It was alignment. Seeing the truth land exactly where it belonged, without force, without cruelty, without me becoming the thing I stood against. I learned something through all of it. Money doesn't make people cruel. Power doesn't make people arrogant. Those things just remove the mask. And sometimes the most powerful move you can make isn't fighting back. It's standing still long enough for the truth to catch up. So let me ask you this. Do you think success actually changes who someone is? Or does it simply give them permission to be who they've always been? I'm curious what you've seen.